Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. For this week's episode, Megan and I are going to be recapping our recent trip to Las Vegas, which we were there for like literally 12 hours.
Like a week. We were there for a little longer than that, not including sleep. But our goal for this episode is to just like share, obviously, like more in depth, more details that we didn't really get to in the vlog. But we do, of course, have a vlog that's going to get posted the weekend after this is posted, like the closest weekend. And so if you want to see like the video version of what we're talking about, then that would be the best way to do that. We also we kind of went a little crazy on our Instagram.
We went hard on Instagram.
Who are we posting like 3 times within a 12-hour trip? But honestly, like we went into this weekend being like, this is the goal, this is the plan. Ciera had
not as in like this, the goal of the trip is to get Instagram pictures,
well, right?
But as in like,
but it's just like
we were ready to go hard, and we had the time, we had the energy, we had the moment.
We've been living, such a mundane life recently, which, like, I always am someone who enjoys, finding and romanticizing everyday life. I really feel like we've actually been doing that quite well, but I still get, like, very good Instagram moments or shots and stuff like that. So.
And I will say, not like it was a last-minute decision, because we've been talking about how we've been using our G7X more for digital photos and stuff, but we were like,
wow,
should we bring
really,
it?
Like, showed up and showed out.
And I was like, yeah, let's bring it. And, like, oh, my God, those pictures turned out so
Even,
good.
like, someone commented something on mine, I think, being like, all your pictures are so good, and someone commented, like, literally on yours, being like, the camera you guys brought for this trip, like,
did its job. And I was like, it really did do its job.
So the G7X, which honestly, it's so funny, that's not the vlog camera we use most of the time.
I don't like how it is for vlogs.
We only bought it because when Ciera and I were separate for our 6-week clinicals, like 2 years ago at this point, well, originally when we were first getting a vlog camera, that was the one we wanted because that's what everyone had. But Best Buy didn't have it. We wanted something right then and there. And so we've been using like the Sony Alpha 5100, something like that. That's what our go-to has been, and that's what we have preferred to use, even though we have the G7X, just because for some reason, like, it looks weird to us when we vlog with the other camera. But for photos,
it does
amazing.
Its job. Now we found a purpose for it.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say we would jump into our weekly spotlights, but I honestly just feel like the trip was, of course, our weekly spotlight. So we're probably just going to jump in. I think our goal is to cover, obviously, like, just in general the trip, but also, like, this was a quick trip. Let's talk about, do we think it was worth it? What kinds of things would we maybe do differently with, like, another weekend trip like this in order to make it even better?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
this all started more than a month ago, but we booked it about a month ago when I was like, we need to go see Bruno Mars live in concert because otherwise I don't know when it's going to happen. And he had been doing either with himself or him, like it was Silk Sonic. He'd been doing residency stuff in Las Vegas, and so I knew he had shows there. And when I looked again, I was like, he only has like 7 shows listed.
She's
and
like,
then, who knows when he's going to perform again. And so I just thought it was kind of like the perfect opportunity for like, we don't need a long time in Vegas. Going to Vegas for a quick trip would be exactly what we need because we're probably not going to Vegas for really any other reason. So if we had a reason to go and it was like to go see Bruno Mars, I was like, come on, we got to do this.
Mm-hmm. So
it didn't take much convincing like from Ciera, like she wanted to go too.
Yeah. I will say like it wasn't cheap and it wasn't expensive either. It was
kind of middle of the road. Like I want to say round trip flights were probably like $200 to $300 for each of us. I'm guessing that sounds about right. And then the Bruno Mars tickets for like an hour and a half to 2-hour concert was like $300+, which like, is that good? Is it bad? I don't know. Compared to Taylor Swift tickets, like incredible. Yeah. Compared to other stuff, like we're maybe going to go see the Jonas Brothers in August or something, and their tickets are like as low as $65. Like it's middle of the ground. I don't really know. I've honestly only been to like 4 concerts. So, but this was definitely the most expensive ticket, but it was the whole reason we were going. So
yeah, kind of had to get that. The hotel was okay. Like it was just like, it wasn't like we were going because it was a steal. We were like, we're going to go somewhere, I guess.
What we were looking for when we were booking a hotel was we wanted it to be walking distance to we wanted it to be like basically on the Strip, and we wanted it to definitely be walking distance to Dolby Live, which is where the concert was at. And so just after perusing availability for the dates.
Yeah, we booked last minute, so that lowered it down.
Wanted it to be like, we wanted to have like a pool and it be like decent and nice. So like it wasn't top of the line hotel, but it certainly wasn't like the cheapest option out there. But I liked it. We stayed at the Tropicana and like it did its job. It was exactly what we needed. The pool was fairly nice. The like hour and a half that we enjoyed it. So, anyways, we found our flights. The ones that ended up working out, we found for Saturday morning to Sunday morning, because we did not want to take any vacation days. And so that was kind of our first little hitch to this trip was, okay, if we're doing this, Ciera can't take any vacation days at her job yet. And I've just barely built up like enough hours, and I already have like future things that I know are happening that I'm like, I need to like maybe save my vacation days. So I was like, let's, if we can make it work, which I found flights that made it work.
I don't know about you, but the last like good weekend trip that I remember us taking that was like us flying was when we went to Colorado in 2022. And that was like a perfect weekend trip. And I was like, I need to do more weekend trips where it doesn't feed into my week. I'm not limited by like the things I have going on at that time we were in school.
Like ideally, we would have loved
to have
2021. I think ideally, and this is one of the things like that we can maybe talk more about later, but it's like ideally I would have loved to have had like a late Friday night flight maybe. But like
that would have made a huge difference.
It just, there's only so many options, and like you're kind of like staggering like decent price versus like the hours you've got, and we couldn't find one late enough Friday. If you lived in like a metro area with like a huge airport, like you've got to have so many options for just weekend
like
getaways,
Chicago.
trips, stuff like that. But the best flight we found that we were willing to pay for was the Saturday morning to Sunday morning. So we did that. It was 2 flights on the way there, which again dug into the daytime hours that we had because we didn't get to Vegas until like 1 or 2 o'clock. But again, we were making it work. So in terms of travel, all of our flights were pretty smooth. We went Des Moines to Nashville. We also like all of this was like to keep it as cheap as possible. We didn't pay for seats. We didn't pay for any carry-ons. So all that was
we weren't
extras.
even sitting together.
We weren't sitting together. Like we were trying to keep price down. It was actually pretty easy to pack though because we were only there for such a short amount of time. So that was not an issue. And
it was honestly very freeing to travel. I know some people will check bags anyways, and so they get to travel that freely anyways. I'm always someone who like I never check a bag. I always do personal item and carry-on usually. But not having a carry-on even, just like have my backpack and like that was it.
That was it. Us against the world.
It's also really off-putting. We saw like one guy at least just like on the plane with nothing but
just
his phone.
It's like, what? You don't have anything to keep you entertained. Like you have nothing with you.
So it was we were off-put by that.
But yeah, we did Des Moines to Nashville. I've never been to the Nashville airport. We have been to Nashville, but we drove there last time. And then we had like not a super long layover. It was interesting because at the Nashville airport, Ciera and I decided that we were going to get Starbucks on the layover because the Des Moines airport does not have a Starbucks. We have like a Frederick's coffee. And I was like, it's early enough where once we get to Nashville, that's when I'll get my Starbucks. And so I did a mobile order to the Starbucks. Ciera was getting us breakfast sandwiches somewhere else because that Starbucks did not have breakfast sandwiches. And so I mobile ordered. I was waiting by all the other people who mobile ordered, and I saw this one other young woman was like talking to someone else there, just as you do when you're in the airport traveling. You just chat with other people there. And so she was talking. I didn't really like pay too much attention. But then when I went back over by our gate, I saw that her flight that she was supposed to be getting on, like I think she showed up to the gate at 10:45, and the flight, like the departure time was 10:45. She showed up to the gate and no one's there. They're gone. The flight has boarded and left. And I was just like, how do you mess that up? Like you were waiting for your Starbucks order when you should have been getting on your plane. Anyways, our flights were smooth. We flew Spirit for the first time, which I'd always heard interesting things about, so I was kind of a little iffy, but it was okay. It was fine. Like, obviously,
all I need is a flight to get me from point A to point B alive.
You don't get your complimentary, like, drink and snacks and stuff, but, like, if you know that going into it, then all is fair.
In love and war.
We even, the pilot took a video of everyone on the plane wishing his sister a happy birthday.
Yeah, I was like, okay. We're like a family here.
But then we landed in Las Vegas. Weather was great. I didn't expect anything less. I think the weather in Vegas is pretty much the same all the time. It's hot and sunny.
I was going to say humid. It's not humid. It's dry.
So in order to best capitalize on our time there, I made like a short itinerary recognizing that we didn't have
I think your itinerary was
time.
very realistic. Like
I tried to keep it realistic. The one thing we didn't do that I thought maybe we'd be able to get to was the high roller at the end of the night, but it just didn't happen. And like, that's okay. It's fine.
So first thing we did was change at the airport because capitalizing on our time, we were going to go straight from the airport to Las Vegas sign because it's on the way in to the strip. And we didn't want to backtrack and like Uber more than we had to. So we changed into our daytime outfit and got ready. Ubered, it's like 10 minutes or something to the sign. And honestly, I heard like, I knew the setup was that there's a line of people that would take you to the front of the sign to get your picture. But it was like more chill than I expected. Like I thought people would be like trying to like fight to the front and like get a picture. They also have like people working there that I didn't know.
Well, there was like,
would, like control the sign.
Some people are just there like that are photographers and like don't work there. But then one guy actually had like the logo and stuff on his shirt, and he was kind of like yelling at people to like, if you're taking pictures on the side, he was yelling at them to like stay on the side and not get in the way of the people who are actually in line. So I was like, oh, interesting. I did not know.
And like a sign guy.
Yeah. Took about a half hour. It was hot. There were people, they have like little stands set up if people want to like buy a juice or a drink or food or something. I didn't really look that hard at much, didn't look that hard at like what all they had. But you're kind of standing in the sun waiting the whole time. So, and we had our backpacks on too. So I was like, my back is getting sweaty. I wasn't sure if I was going to be in my moment, but we got up to the front. We took our pictures.
Would you say it's worth it to like wait in the line?
Here's the thing. We had time to kill, and like, so I kind of wanted to, you know, just if we're going to be there and wait to take a picture, like it didn't bother me to wait. But I do think like, if you don't care that much, like I would just hop out on the side. And also if you had your own ride, like that'd probably be a little bit more like easy to do. But like we Uber there, and it wasn't like I was saying wait here. So like I wasn't going to call an Uber immediately back to go pick us up. So it seemed most worth it to like spend a little bit of time there. And in that sense, like might as well wait in line.
Yeah.
But I think that the pictures off to the side and
that
take a few.
We got, like at least for me in front of the sign, like without any in the background, were like my better pictures. But the ones on the side were fine if you don't care about someone being in the background. So it only took like a half hour.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, maybe you think that's a long time, but I thought it was fine.
And then we decided to Uber to our hotel next so we could check in. And then we found our way to our room. I wouldn't be surprised if all hotels are like this, that are like in Vegas and have like that many rooms. But I didn't realize how long of a walk it would be to get to our room. And like we were changing quite a bit. We were doing frequent outfit changes during the couple hours we were there. So I just like the amount of walking we had to do, like we'd get to the hotel and I'd be like, okay, now like another mile to our room. Not actually, but like it kind of felt like it.
Yeah, it was a long hallway because we'd like go in by the casino and then we have to go to the towers where the actual rooms were. And so it's just a long hallway to the elevators to get to our room.
But we just changed immediately into our swimsuits and went to the pool because we thought that'd be the best use of our time if we wanted to use the pool at all. It closed like pretty early. And we got there and I was like envisioning, because here's the thing, we hadn't eaten like all day. I didn't bring any snacks on the airport, surprisingly, because I was kind of like, I wasn't starving, so I was like, maybe I'll just like get hungry, and then like when I get to the pool, I can like have my little like feast of food. We get there, we could see the bar, and it didn't really look like they were gonna have food, so I was like, do they even have food? But then when I like looked up the like hotel, and all it said was like the pool hours, and that they had like a menu, and then when I went up to the bar, I was able to see that they had a food menu, but then I asked if they were still serving food, and they did not. They had stopped like 20 minutes and it was before we got there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, like, awesome.
So then we had a dilemma. We were like, do we leave to go get food now because we haven't eaten anything, or do we like just have our pool moment? And we decided that we weren't hungry enough to like cut down on our pool time, and we would just eat later on the strip. And I think that was something else that we kind of like regretted with how little time we had. I would have loved to have gone to like one of those famous restaurants in Las Vegas and like sat down, had a full meal, but we didn't know how much time that would take to get in, order.
And I think given like looking back, I do think what we did was like the best option we had, and because it still allowed us time to like explore and walk around the strip enough without sacrificing our time.
Like, I would have loved to have tried more food and like desserts and just fun snacks and stuff on the strip.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we had Shake Shack, which was our first time having Shake Shack, and it was pretty good.
I actually, for some reason in my head, feel like I've had Shake Shack before, but I'm not positive when that would have been. But anyways, we were at the pool until like 5 or 5:30 or something, and then we decided to change yet again, back into our daytime clothes that we wore from the airport because we only packed so many clothes on this trip. We decided to walk around the strip. So something that I didn't know about, although like if you look at pictures of Vegas, like it's probably not surprising, but like the amount of like bridges to go up and over the streets so you're not crossing through traffic, like they're just all over. Up a little escalator and then like across a walkway and then down on the other side, and then it's all over the place. And so we walked around really with like nothing in mind because both of us we felt like we were just like we just wanted to walk around the strip, and that was like our activity. It wasn't to like go do a specific thing
and go in if we were interested.
Which one of the first things we came across was I could see something that just said Netflix on the side when we were walking. I was like, well, what does that mean? Because there's not just like a Netflix store. And it ended up being a Stranger Things pop-up experience / like
merch store.
But it was free. So I was like, okay, let's go check it out. And at first, like, we went down an escalator, and it was just kind of like 2 or 3 different like small photo ops, and I was like, this is
underwhelming.
That's kind of dumb.
It was cool though because it was, so you go down an escalator when you're going into it. So like they had music playing and like screens showing like some Stranger Things stuff, and it was like playing the Stranger Things music, like the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So it was kind of like a fun, immersive moment.
But then what I realized was that there was an area, like a tunnel you could like go back behind. So once you go back there, that's where all like the merch and stuff you could buy was. And they had like different areas of the store were like different things from past seasons. So they had like Will Byers' house and like the lights hanging on the walls, kind of reminiscent of that. And they had like a high school section where it looked like whatever the high school is called,
the Tigers.
And then there was like kind of like an arcade themed room and like just different things that
they had like a Vecna
are Stranger Things
thing and a Demogorgon,
and then of course a bunch of different merch you could buy, which we did not. So then we went to the Coca-Cola store because we saw that was there, and like it would have been wrong if we did not walk in there. I mean,
no free
case
promo.
in point. We needed to go in, and
I could have bought like a million things in there that I would have loved, but due to limited space,
what we were closest to buying would have probably been like these Las Vegas coasters. We kind of have like unintentionally gotten like a thing for coasters now because we've been gifted coasters, and I felt like, the coasters we found were like nice and glass and they looked cute and they were Coke themed, but they also like said Vegas on it, so it would have been like an homage to
that
both
trip.
Things. Maybe if I love them enough, I'll order them. But we did not pick any up there. Although we do have, I had like my keychain. Part of it is like a smiley face bottle opener, and I actually ordered it from the Coca-Cola website, and we found it there in the store. And so I was like, I actually do have that. But they did have a lot of neat, fun things.
I mean, Coke always has.
If you're a Coke fanatic, like you just
like Pepsi could never. Does Pepsi have a merch store?
What was across from the street? I don't know.
There was something on the other side of the strip that said Pepsi Cola, but I couldn't tell if that was just like a vintage sign or if it was actually Pepsi and they had a store. I don't know.
What else? What did we do after that? I think
we like walked all the way down to the fountain.
Does Shake Shack not give you guys ketchup? Like, is that a rule they have? Because I tried looking it up because I couldn't find a single ketchup in that store. And in my mind, I was like, I feel like I've heard somewhere that like Shake Shack does not give you ketchup because like they want you to just like enjoy their sauces and stuff, but like I could be wrong, but I didn't see it anywhere in there. Regardless, the fries and stuff were all pretty good without it, but I was just like, usually you give people the option of their condiments.
There's also, when we're eating at Shake Shack, there was a Vegas Knights hockey game.
Yeah, I didn't know that Vegas was like so into their hockey team, but like there was Vegas night stuff everywhere. And to be honest, like I don't know NHL teams. The logo to me looked like an XFL team. So I was like, they really like their XFL team like a lot. And I was like, they have the Raiders. So like,
what's up with that?
But yeah, the playoffs were going on. They actually had one of the playoff games there that same time we were there at T-Mobile Arena. And I think they won, but I'm not positive.
Don't even know.
But yeah, Knights gear everywhere. So.
And then
when we were at Shake Shack, we found out like Dolby Live was right there. So I was like, okay, perfect. That's where we're walking later. So we know exactly where we're going and where it's at.
And we walked all the way down. The furthest we got was the Bellagio fountain. Got there like right at 7, which is perfect because that's when, like, I guess every 15 minutes they do a little fountain show. It was to one of BTS's songs.
I wonder if they change it like every 15 minutes. Or do you think like, or maybe
Today's
they just have like
BTS
a certain
day.
number on like repeat? Is it like the same thing for all the shows that day? Is it like, who knows? We did not stand another 15 minutes to find out, but it was, it was neat. It was cool.
And then we were at that point then across from the Eiffel Tower thing stuff and whatever that globe thing is.
It's like a hot air balloon.
And I do wish that we would have had more time to go like venture to that area. I like would have loved to have seen like the Venetian canals that they have, but we just didn't have the time. Yeah. Because the doors to the concert opened at 7:30, and we didn't even get there at 7:30. We like had to go back and change still and get ready for the concert. And it was quite a little bit of a walk.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to like. I just feel like I would have loved a little bit more time if we would have gotten there. Like we said earlier,
in the morning,
Friday night,
it would have been,
and then like had the whole day Saturday. It would have been like the perfect amount of time.
Like I think we would have like checked off everything that we would have wanted to have checked off,
or had we left a little bit later on Sunday. But
yeah,
we were limited.
So we went back to the hotel again, like the 1,000,000-mile walk that we had to do to get back, and then we did it. I loved our concert outfits. I really feel like they came together. You can go check out our Instagrams or upcoming vlog to see what we wore. But Ciera actually came up with hers pretty last minute, but I really feel like, what a way to just have that dress already.
I know, isn't it cute?
Because her dress was from Abercrombie, and you originally, did you get it for Haley's?
No, I just got it because I liked it.
You just got it because you liked it? I had a black skirt that I already had, and then I purposely bought a shirt from Zara that I thought would like go nicely. And so like I had little like jewels and sparkles on it that I thought kind of like matched the Vegas vibe, but it wasn't like too out there for me. It was like a nice and simple, like I can wear this type of outfit. And then I also got some sparkly shoes from Target last minute because I had black heels, but I thought I wanted some more sparkle. So
and we did wear heels to the concert, which since the walk was not that far,
it was like a 10-minute walk.
The heels that we had were probably like 2.5 inches or something.
Like they are walkable.
And I've like worn, heels like that to weddings and stuff, like, and I can keep my shoes on for a pretty long time. So I was like, I can do this. Granted, by the end of the night, my feet were hurting.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what the setup was for the show entirely. We knew that phones weren't allowed. So we were like, should we bring the G7X? Will it fit in Megan's clear bag that she brought?
Do they have like size of bag restrictions? Like I didn't know. So I had like a clear bag that's like meant for tailgating that I brought just in case, because like usually if it's clear it doesn't matter the size. So I was like, that's what I'll bring, because I don't know.
We didn't want to walk all the way there and then have to walk all the way back. So we didn't know if the camera would be like an issue because it was no phone. So I didn't know if they want like no cameras at all.
Right.
So we left the camera in the room, but we still wanted our G7X photos. So we took a few before we left. Cute, whatever.
We did some in the hotel because, yeah, that was like what we could do before we leave.
We were like, we need to get some outside, like when it's dark outside, because before the concert hadn't like really set, the sun hadn't set yet, and we wanted some like outdoor flash Vegas night photos. And I was like, maybe I'll be able to keep my shoes on. No. We had to go back to the room. 1, to get a camera. 2, I had to change out of those shoes.
It was getting painful.
It was getting brutal. I'm honestly shocked that I didn't get any lasting blisters or anything. So thank God for that. But we changed into our sneakers, and then we ventured back out into the Vegas night and took some G7X photos.
But let's backtrack quickly to really dive into the concert, because that's why we were here. If you're wanting to go to Bruno Mars concert, you have no idea what it's like because no phones and cameras are allowed. We're going to go ahead and tell you. once we got to like Dolby Live, I feel like we kind of went into like autopilot mode and had intended to maybe like discuss more with like the vlog camera of like, okay, we're getting ready to get inside. But it was just kind of like,
it was a very streamlined and smooth process, like very little wait time to even get in the door.
And then
which is I think why we were so like, whoa.
When you're at the doors, like they're like, phone please, like, and then they put it in the bag and they close it and lock it and like gone.
I was like, what if I had to talk to someone?
And so we were kind of like, oh, like we don't have our phones now until like the show's over. And we got in doors probably around like 8 or so, and the show started at 9. And I couldn't see a clock anywhere in that building. No. And I was like, and I don't have my phone, so I don't even know what time it is. Like, when should I go up to my seat? They print it off, like, once they scan your ticket, they give you, like, a paper version of your
So at least that
seat.
way you have a way of knowing where you're supposed to go.
But we kind of sat in a little bit, like, they had, like, a bar and stuff there that, like, people could, or, like, they had a merch, too. But I was like, I'm not paying $80 for a shirt. What? Shoot.
For a t-shirt.
So it did not get in line for that. And then didn't get a drink either. I don't know if they had any food there. I didn't really look, but
it was just us
sitting
and ourselves.
And I was like, I have no idea what time it is.
But then the person that we sat next to, she had an Apple Watch on, so like every once in a while she like move her wrist, and I'd be like, it's 8:32.
And of course Bruno didn't come out exactly at 9 o'clock. To be honest, I was kind of surprised how late people were still coming in. I was like, the show starts at 9, and I know you guys don't necessarily have your phone, but like, get in your seats sooner. Not that he would have been out any sooner, because I'm sure everything starts fashionably late, but I was like, let's get this show on the road, come on. That's why we're all here.
It was funny, the closer, once it like hit 9 especially, and they were still playing just kind of like some songs to, you know, fill the ambiance. Like the song would end, then people would like start cheering, be like, Bruno, come out now. And then like the next song would start playing, we'd be like, oh.
And then I think probably around 9:15 is when like the lights went black and you're kind of like, okay, it's showtime. And here's the thing. I mean, I love this concert. I really don't have like almost any negative things to say about it. But before this, before we went on this trip, I had looked up the set list of Las Vegas 2023. And so I had kind of been like, I'd made sure that I knew the songs that were going to be playing, hopefully, and was familiar with stuff. And the first one that was on there, as if it would be the opening, was a song called Moonshine, which I honestly had never heard of before even looking up the set list. And it's grown to be like one of my favorite songs of the moment. And so Ciera and I were talking before the show started, being like, what are like our most anticipated songs now? And off the top of my head, I was kind of like, Moonshine, Treasure, were probably like the highest ones up there, because Treasure is like probably my favorite song that he has. And Moonshine had really grown on me recently. And he started with... Huh? Oh, yeah. It was Moonshine Nowhere. Was not in the...
Which is not surprising, because he really did play just like songs that most everyone knows. And not everyone knows Moonshine, obviously. But it was like, we really grew to like that song.
So he opened with 24 Karat Magic, which like honestly, it was probably like the perfect opening. Because I just feel like the music when it starts, like it's just like, it goes straight into party mode. Everyone's hyped. Everyone's excited. Like the lights are huge. He has like these signs that's behind, because like the stage there is just like small. A residency stage, so like it's not like huge. And so it was just like giant letters that lit up, and it said Bruno Mars. I thought it was very cool. And they've got kind of like some different lights and a few pyrotechnic stuff, not a lot. But it was just like full energy right away. And I almost like, I wasn't like close to crying, but I was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe Bruno Mars is down there on that stage right now. Like, it was the most starstruck I've been for any of the concerts that we've been to.
I think that I had a moment, and I have this moment with like every concert or thing that I go to where there's like a celebrity, where there's a camera on them, and then I have a tendency to like look at the screen, right? And be like, you have to look at his physical being, Ciera.
He's there.
So I would have to like remind myself that throughout the night.
Would do that, but then also like I could see so much better on the screen. And so that's what they opened with. He did a great job of like covering most of his popular songs from like all of his albums, even like if it was just like a little bit of the song. Because obviously he has like a bunch of high energy songs, and most of those were played in like basically their entirety. But then I also thought it was neat how during one part of the show, the songs that are a little bit more like slow paced and maybe more acoustic, he sits down on the piano and just like plays the piano himself.
And he's like intro it, being like, this song like, you know, got me to where I am today. Like this song blew me up.
Yeah.
He's like, this song was like really hard for me to like sing
yeah.
live.
And so that's when he played like Just the Way You Are, I think. He played Billionaire when he was doing that. Just like more of like the lighter ones that didn't have like a bunch of music and stuff. And so, and it's just like, here's the thing. I love Bruno Mars. He's one of my top artists, like, and I know most of his songs, especially the popular ones. And even while I'm there, like, he played so many songs, and I was just like, dang, another banger, another bop.
I had that moment too, where it's like before the concert, we were thinking of like we can look at our phones to like pull up his Spotify to be like, what songs are we most excited about? So we're just going by memory. And I was like, obviously this song is huge. Like When I Was Your Man, I love that song, but I like kind of forgot about it. Mm-hmm. So he started playing it, and I was like, oh my god, I love this song.
It was also kind of fun. I don't know if he did this on purpose or not, but like he kind of would like, there'd be music, like a huge like musical lead up to whatever the next song would be a lot of the times. And Ciera and I would be trying to guess like what we thought the song would be. And I don't know if I'm just really bad at like understanding the next song, but I kind of felt like he would lead you into thinking it was going to be like one song possibly. Because there was one time I really thought Moonshine was going to be next. Like that's what the music sounded like and stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like switch, change, like, and here's the song we're going into. I don't know if that was on purpose. It could have just been me being not having a musical ear. Mm-hmm. Either way, I would be like, okay, I'm in this song now. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
And I think that he just did such a good job, like, talking to the audience, and, like,
he's such a, like, he has charisma. He has the riz.
Yeah. Like, he's just such a performer.
Yeah.
Whether it's dancing or just interacting with the crowd or, like, obviously I know this stuff is, like, scripted, planned, whatever. But, like, literally at the end of the show, they're doing, like, you know, thanks to the thanks to the guitar player and the piano man and the drummer, but like it's scripted in this way where I was like, you could literally release this on Spotify and I would listen to this.
Yeah.
Like that's how rhythmic and cool it was.
And then also anyone who's seen the That's What I Like music video, like, you know, really probably any of his music videos, like just like kind of like the dance style he has.
It's like, and, like so effortless, subtle.
Love. Because like it's just so effortlessly cool. And I mean that, and just like that's what it is. And so it's like all of like it was him and then like 4 or 5, maybe 6 like guys / background dancers / singers that like help with vocals and stuff. And like it's just everything is so in sync, perfect with like the song, like it just fits. And if you want to watch the That's What I Like music video, like that's what it was like the whole way through the show. And it was just like, loved it so much.
And then when the show was over, encore song, because obviously if you think of Bruno Mars and like what his most popular song is, you probably think of Uptown Funk. And so that was his encore song, which, like, correct me if I'm wrong, usually like these days an artist, if they have an encore song, like they always do it. You don't have like those lights and shows and like whatever set up if you don't plan on doing it.
Yeah. And
they obviously like had prep for it. So like the show ended, curtains went down, but the lights were still off, and everyone's like, encore, like, Bruno, come back out.
And then it was right to the song.
But it was just like, it makes me laugh because they're like, thank you everyone, like we had a great night, like gotta go. And I'm like, you're gonna be back out here in like 2 seconds.
Okay, one more time.
So that was the end, and then the lights turned back on. I was like, okay, now it's over.
So show was over around 11 o'clock. We headed out. They had people just all around to like unlock the things that our phones were in. And then it was funny because like Ciera and I basically like we didn't know what we were gonna do that night. We were kind of like we were open to maybe possibly like going out a little bit, but we were also like we have to get up, you know, by like 6 tomorrow morning to get to our flight. And so we were just trying, and then we also knew we wanted to still go get the G7X again to take pictures. So that's what we did first. Ciera already kind of talked about that. We got the pictures taken, and then we decided that we would just get milkshakes at the Hershey store, which is what we did. But it was kind of funny because like before we went in, they had like a after party thing at like designated clubs or bars or whatever. One was a speakeasy that like they kept promoting, and so we had a card for that. And when we were leaving, someone else was like still out trying to promote it and be like, ladies who have tickets, like they drink free tonight, blah blah blah. And so Ciera and I are like walking out we're leaving because we were going to change shoes and all that stuff. And the guy is like yelling out. He's like kind of pointing to us, telling us, he's like, "You're not even 21, are you?" And I was just like, "I am, but okay."
I gotta go.
Same thing at the airport when we were leaving. The TSA guy, what did he ask you? He was like,
I don't know. He said something about being in town for. He's like, 21st birthday? And I was like, no.
and you can see my birthday.
You are holding my ID right now. It's already horizontal.
True.
So
it's not vertical, but yeah, we got our milkshakes, we got our pictures, and we were like, I think it's time to call it a night. The only place I was considering going, because like, again, as someone who's like, I'm not a clubbing gal, so like the last thing I want to go to is like a bar or club that would be like scary to me, and, like, and I don't know what that means, but like I didn't do my research before going on this trip. And so the only one, because we saw it when we were walking through one of the buildings by accident, was there was a Coyote Ugly, and we had been to, now is the Vegas one the same as the San Antonio one?
who knows?
No idea. But I enjoyed the one we went to in San Antonio when we were there for the APTA CMS conference.
CSM.
Yeah, I was like, what is that called?
Medicare.
So, but we didn't go. I thought maybe if we wanted to go somewhere, that's where we'd go, but I just didn't have it in me, and didn't care enough to. And so yeah,
I was getting tired at that point.
We wanted to go back and see like,
we
the
gotta get the
pictures
pictures
we had. So did a long treacherous walk back and showered and rinsed off again, got changed into BJ's, and then just got into bed. Ciera was sending pictures onto her phone from the camera.
Oh, I was doing that. So our G7X, if you get an app on your phone that has like Wi-Fi, you can transfer pictures directly from the camera to your phone without having to like be annoying about it. And so I was like doing rounds of that throughout the day. I was like, we get back to the hotel, I'm transferring pictures. We leave, we come back, I transfer pictures. Like I was on top of it.
Yeah. I will also once again shout out, if you do not do shared album as your means of sharing pictures when you're on a trip with people, like that is the move. It's do not airdrop. We're not doing airdrop anymore. We don't do airdrop unless it's like 2 pictures to one specific person. Because you make a shared album, you can go through that and pick like what ones you actually like, what ones you don't. If there's candidates, like it doesn't clog up your camera roll. It stays in the shared album. So it's just much more organized.
And also, a secondary PSA, if you do a shared album, do not include pictures of just you in the shared album, because no one wants to see those except for you. If you have a photo of someone else,
clog up the shared album.
Send it to the shared album. But like, don't just like blind drag your finger and you have 20 pictures in a row of just you. No one else wants that.
Don't airdrop or put random pictures in the shared album. Like if you're walking around Vegas, like I took a couple pictures of the strip on my phone just to have pictures of the strip on my phone.
If I want a picture of the strip, I'll take a picture of the strip on my phone.
Yeah. So don't do that. This applies, like we're obviously talking about our trip, but I'm just like, now we switched over to just like rules for shared albums. And then you get to name it a fun little like Vegas trip, and then like fun little casino gambling thing and whatever else you added in there.
Like a desert thing, I think.
Yeah. Anyways, biggest things that I would change probably would be like, if you could pull it off, like the flight time would be the biggest thing, and like maybe it'd be worth paying a little bit more for a flight that you can get a better time for versus like not. But I do think doing this definitely showed me like I would absolutely do something like this again. And you know, it's funny, this was Memorial Day weekend and we both had to work Monday. So
I know.
We really pulled out all the stops to make this happen. We were back for our dad's Memorial Day dinner on Sunday evening. So, because we landed at 2:00 and had the whole day ahead of us still to do what we wanted to. I also don't know how I ran so well off of like what little sleep I got, because like Friday night my intention was to like go to bed around 10:30 so I could wake up to go to the airport early, but I stayed up until like 12:30 or 1 because I was
just
dumb.
Why not?
So I didn't sleep that well, but then I woke up and like wasn't that tired, so I was like, it's probably gonna hit me later, which I do not need. And I was hoping to sleep on the plane, but I didn't really. But I actually I was just surprisingly
I slept a little bit on the way there.
Pretty good the whole day. Like I didn't really hit a wall. even despite the time change, like, because we ended up staying up until like
3 a.m.
our time. I was like, I've been up for like 22 hours right now, or 21 hours or whatever it was. And then when we went to bed, we only got like 4.5, maybe 5 hours of sleep. You fell asleep
I
a
fell
little
asleep
sooner.
before you.
So I was like, this is gonna be like rough again tomorrow morning. Like, I'm gonna be like sleep deprived and
you just wake up.
Sleep debt. You know, they talk about. I was like, good luck to me waking up Monday. But again, Monday, granted, I got like almost a full 8 hours of sleep, but I was kind of worried about sleep debt and if I was gonna feel like exhausted. I woke up feeling like so refreshed on Monday too.
Oh, look at that.
So I don't know what was going on this week, but it all worked out in my favor.
Something in the Vegas air.
catch, like on the way back, I maybe slept for like an hour on the plane, and like I took a 45-minute nap on the couch because I was trying to like preemptively
reduce
catch up.
your sleep debt.
So it must have worked out.
And here we are. Let us know if you guys have gone to Vegas, and if we ever go back.
We are already looking at like just perusing different like weekend trip options to like see what would be feasible and fun.
If we ever go back, and you've been there, clearly we didn't do a lot, so leave us some recs. I'd be open to going back.
Me too. I think so too. I think it's like I would go back, but maybe it'd be like either for another like specific reason, or maybe kind of like exploring more of like the nature outskirts stuff too. Like, I don't know if I'd care enough to go to like the Hoover Dam, which Ciera saw on the plane.
Randomly, so I was looking for it on the way in. I didn't see it. And then just like randomly on the way out, I was like kind of like leaning my head against the window, and I was like looking at my phone a little bit, and then I peeked out the window, and the Hoover Dam was just right there, and I got a picture of it on my phone. So,
but they have like some hikes and stuff, or like a lake around there too. I don't know. But maybe like if it all like kind of just like worked out, like I would go back.
Especially there's like other people that, you know,
wanted
to go on a trip.
Yeah. But the one I've been looking at the most, just because I feel like it'd be a lot to do like within a weekend, is New York, because yeah, that's just the one that's been most intriguing to me.
And you know, last time we went to New York, it was also for a very short amount of time.
Because like before we went to New York the first time, I honestly had like little to no desire to go to New York. But then after getting kind of like gypped with like our 24-hour experience of like only being able to do the stuff that we were doing with NBC and not doing anything else, I was kind of like, I don't even get to do like the most basic things that I wanted to do when I was here. So I just like feel like I need redemption for that trip.
Anyway, more to come on that in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed this little recap. Make sure you watch the live action vlog coming out this weekend. That also covers the trip.
Otherwise, make sure you do the subscribe, liking, rating the show, all of that stuff. Send to your friend your favorite episode. Get them to start listening. And we will talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.